excited to share a little bit about the music and the culture of Ireland with you today. Hopefully you are enjoying a little bit of the Irish culture right now yourself. We just thought it might be a really fun way to have a truly immersive experience. So we chose Irish folk music because it is part of my heritage. My father's side is all Irish, like 100%. So I'm 50%, and it's like I grew up in a household where both my parents are collegiate music professors, and so I was all classical music all the time, but rarely did I get to study music of my heritage. And I never really asked as a kid because I just thought, well, we just do classical music and that's what we do. And then since I came here about 4 weeks ago now, it started my wheel spinning. We need to be celebrating cultures from all around the world. Well, what about my own? And so that's what kind of drove this in so that we chose it for our presentation.
All right, so the instrument I selected was the penny whistle. If you Google penny whistle, you'll see lots of different things show up. Also called the Irish whistle, the tin whistle, the flipple whistle. The one that I have is right in the middle in the key of D. Penny whistle based off of the metal that it's made out of. To the right, there's a silver version of the same kind of concept, and then to the left is a wooden one. This one is more often called the flipple flute, or you can find it as the Irish flute. Little history on the penny whistle, and we'll keep it real brief. It was introduced in the early 19th century. Ancestors to the penny whistle include the Irish brehon and the Norman bone whistle. When I searched Norman bone whistle, I got this picture right here. Whistles literally made out of bones. Used primarily in folk music in the study that we did, also called the Irish or tin whistle. In doing a little bit of research, I wanted to see if there was any classical art that had pictures of the penny whistle in it. So I found this one from the late 18th century, or 1800s, early 1900s, of a young boy playing the whistle. Just like a brief how to play the penny whistle, because we're teachers and that's how our brain works. Left hand on top, right hand on bottom, just like saxophone, just like recorder. In fact, it's incredibly similar to playing the recorder. Use hot air for your low notes, cold air for the high notes. This is the demonstration we use with our kids all the time. You put your hand out in front of you, all right, and you breathe hot air into it. You'll notice that the air comes from the back of your throat and it's slow. That's the kind of air you use for your lower register. And then, once again, if you put your hand out in front of you and you blow cold air, you know it's more towards the front of your mouth and it's going to be quicker air. That's how you're going to get the upper register notes. Anytime you see a plus sign in a fingering chart, it simply means you're supposed to be using that cold air or that faster air to produce the upper pitch, as there's no octave key. Saxophones have an octave key, recorders even have a little key back here that you can use. So it's a little bit different than those.
All right, the instrument that I learned was the bowron, and it is this right here. It came in a much larger package than I had anticipated from Amazon, so that was exciting. So several examples are up here, all basically the same. What it boils down to is it's a frame drum with a wooden frame and an animal skin stretched over. A lot of them are tunable. I don't think this one is. I've been afraid to disassemble it and figure it out because I don't want to break it because I don't know that much about it yet. The stick used to strike it is called either just a stick or a tipper. It's got these little knobs on both ends and a little ridge in the middle just to kind of help you hold on. You hold on to it kind of like a pencil down here, and it's got to be kind of loosey-goosey a little bit so that you can get a good flick on the head. It was a new concept to me that you don't strike a drum like you strike any other drum. It's a glancing blow, kind of like that, and that was a new experience. The left hand holds it on the back and mutes the drum a little bit so it's not so ringing. So some believe that the bowron originated in Africa or Southeast Asia. Similar drums have existed in Irish culture for centuries, largely used in war as like a how drums are typically used, and more just to keep the troops together, to send signals. Also used as a noisemaker in festivals, just whatever. Obviously made out of some kind of animal skin. It wasn't until the 1960s that composers started using the bowron in Irish folk music, and ever since then it's been part of the canon. It's what people do. So I already told you a little bit about how to play it. Left hand is on the back of the drum. You're supposed to play it seated, which I will in just a little bit. Kind of rest on your knee and in your armpit a little bit. So don't share them with your neighbor. So just back and forth like this. You'll see where the strike points are on the diagram. If you're playing a slower song like a ballad like we're doing today, just more of a 2-strike pattern, down and up. If you're playing a jig or a reel or a faster one like that, it's a 3-strike pattern. 1, 2, 3. And I'm not super good at that one.
And like the diagram's kind of explaining, but this would be, or confusing, but this would be the initial strike, this is the follow through, and then that's the final strike right there.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Kind of like a circle like that. So the several characteristic things you can do with these instruments. The penny whistle first.
All right, so scoops is, or for lack of a better term, I couldn't find the technical term for what they call kind of the bending of the pitch. I learned this by trial and error. A couple things I do to try to produce this. When I first start on the pitch, I drop my jaw to create more space. It bends my pitch down, and then I bring my jaw up, and it kind of helps bend the pitch up. And then I'll also slide my finger across the tone hole. It may take me a time or two to get one for you. Kind of gives you that cool traditional Irish folk song. Trill is pretty self-explanatory. And then vibrato versus non-vibrato. Sometimes you'll hear vibrato in music, in folk music. Sometimes you won't hear it. No vibrato, obviously. Straight air. With vibrato, I just use air vibrato, bending my pitch up at a quick pace.
And then one cool thing on the bowron, other than all the really complex strokes, are that you'll see a lot of bowron players moving their left hand up and down on the back of the drum. That changes the pitch, kind of acts like a bass and a snare a little bit, and you can do all sorts of crazy stuff with changing your hand position and the tension and all that kind of stuff. I'm not all that good at all that yet, but I'll do some of it.
So while studying Irish folk music or styles, we came across 2 big ones. Ballads, slower, more lyrical, and we'll play one of those for you in a little bit. And then there is this whole genre of dance songs, and underneath that kind of like umbrella term are jigs, reel, hornpipe songs. We would love to play a dance song for you today, but we were not confident that we'd be able to do it in one try. So we went to the park last night and did like 15 tries, and we got a good one. So it's super short, it's like 30 seconds, but here's just a little bit of 13 seconds.
Make a full screen.
Okay, and this is Irish Washerwoman. Let's see here.
From the park. You have to click it first.
Okay. And that was the one I was
Yeah, we're super good. We were also intimidated by the police, and we left the park.
And then we just learned about the park rules and if you can play or if you can't play.
Yeah. All right, so we did go to an Irish pub last week down on Bowery called Slanty, and it was really neat. We heard some live Irish music. Got some cheap sliders, and really it was like a little jam session of just a bunch of Irish musicians, and really neat, lots of really complex and fun music to hear. So it was a really great experience. I would suggest it if you have not been.
Alright, so the piece that we selected is called Inisheer. This is a traditional Irish folk ballad, and this is a picture of the island of Inisheer. It's on the west side of Ireland. Couple interesting facts, there's only 300 people that inhabit the island, and they still speak the traditional Irish language there. So the piece we're going to play for you is a ballad, like I said, and we are going to have you guys participate with us. We're going to go through it 3 times?
4 times.
4 times total. All right, first time through, Will's going to sing it for you guys so you can hear what it sounds like. Second time through, I'm going to play it on penny whistle. Third time through, we ask that you join us after having heard it 2 times. And then 4th time through, if you would hum. So 3rd time, sing it with us, and then 4th time, if you guys would hum it.
Just so you know, there's only like one English translation of the lyrics, and it really doesn't fit the tune super well, but it does in the Irish quite nicely, but not in the English. So we had to do a little bit of stretching to make it fit, but it fit eventually. Yeah, I'm gonna sit. That's what we power on players do. Hang on a second. All right, here we go.
To your private studios or to your classrooms. So at the very end of my slide, which I shared in block number 5, you'll see an interactive lesson plan. If you were interested in purchasing a penny whistle or a Bo-Ron, you can click here. It takes us to our Amazon links. Penny whistles are like $10. Bo-Rons are more like 50. But you can certainly use this with recorders. You can use it with voice. You can use it with your classroom instruments. Here, if you wanted to learn the fingerings, click here to select your folk song. really fast. The cool thing about this link is that it takes you to this page where kids can select like 50 songs. If you click on any one of them, they just give you an 8-measure melody of that. And it also includes a little video of somebody playing it for you, so you can kind of have kids break off into groups and they can kind of teach themselves. Over here, quick improvisation lesson. It just takes you to the next slide that we've got here, how to break down improvisation for students, middle school, elementary, even high school. Having them select one note from each of the measures. First start by improvising on that one note using different rhythms, then select 2 notes, then 3 notes. And then this last one is a worksheet that we created. It's a front and back worksheet that you can print up and use in your classroom. It breaks down students selecting who's in their group, what song you're gonna pick, do a little bit of historical analysis on the song, just really basic, and then using music vocabulary, at least 2 ways your song is going to impact your performance. And then the back page would be the actual performance, selecting a student to keep the pulse and how are they gonna do that. And then it breaks it down, everybody plays the melody as an A section, have students improvise one time through, which is our B section, and then we return back to our A section. So that's all accessible to you guys in Block Discipline.